Today I'm going to teach you about transformations of functions. So basically we're going to be talking about what these letters, colorful letters, A, H, K, and this negative will do to your parent function. Okay, so let's start with a quadratic function, just most basic parent quadratic function. So let's say I have f of x equals x squared. Well, if I want to sketch this graph or sketch this function, I'm gonna have my x and y. This is a parabola, right? Quadratic function is a parabola. The vertex of this function would be at the origin, and then it's a parabola that opens upwards. Now, I'm gonna give you a couple examples, and I'm gonna start including h, then k, then a negative, and then a, and we're gonna analyze what are these numbers gonna do to our parent function. So let's start with number one. Let's say I have f of x equals x plus 3 squared. So the difference between this function and this function is basically I just added 3 here. Now, if you see a number inside of the parentheses, this number represents a horizontal shift or horizontal transformation. Now, horizontal meaning we're going to be translating this function either to the right or to the left, right? It's horizontal, kind of like a horizon. Now, if you see positive 3, maybe your intuition wants to shift this function to the right. Well, the number inside of the parentheses work opposite. So if you see positive 3, we're actually going to go opposite, which means we're going to shift this function, this parabola, 3 units to the left. Okay? So this is shift 3 units left. So if I want to sketch this, I would take my vertex and I would move it 3 units to the left. So here I would start my vertex, and then the function still opens upwards, and pretty much everything else is the same. Okay, I just shifted it 3 units left. Now let's look at number 2. I have f of x equals x minus 4 squared. Again, I have a number inside of the parentheses, which represents a horizontal translation. Now, if you see negative, your intuition probably wants to move it left. Well, we're going opposite to what your intuition tells you, so we're actually shifting 4 units to the right. So shift 4 units right. Okay, I'm not going to draw it another parabola because it's going to get too messy, but I would basically shift this original vertex 4 units to the right. Now, next up we have number 3, and I'm going to focus on this value k. That's why I'm keeping the same numbers. Okay, same colors. All right, let's say I have f of x equals x squared plus 1. Notice there's no parentheses now, okay? My number 1 is basically at the end of this function. Now, this number will represent a vertical translation. So we're going to be shifting function either up or down. Now this time I want you to follow your intuition. So plus 1, meaning we're going to shift 1 unit up. Okay, if I want to sketch this, my original vertex, now it's going 1 unit up, and then everything else stays the same. Okay, now number 4, I have f of x equals x squared minus 6. Well, here's this number at the very end of the function, no parentheses, and I'm following the intuition. So negative, you probably want to shift it down, and that's going to be correct. So shift 6 units down. All right, next up, we're gonna move to this negative part. So I'm gonna use orange. Hold on, dog. Come on. Okay, so let's say we have function f of x equals negative x squared. Okay, so as you can see, I have negative in front of x squared. It's basically, if you're gonna have this negative, it's gonna be at the front of this whole mess. Now, what this minus is doing is basically reflecting your original parabola across the x-axis. Or in more basic words, it's flipping it upside down. I don't want to use the word flipping here. We're gonna say it reflects across the x-axis. So minus, as long as you see minus, you have reflect across x-axis. Okay, and then last part, we're gonna focus on this pink part, which is represented by letter A. Now, so I'm gonna have number 6, f of x equals 2x squared. So this number is going to be in front of x squared or in front of your parentheses. Now it's going to make your function either more narrow or more wider. So if this number is bigger than 1, we have a vertical stretch. Lexi, stop. Stop it. Stop. Now, if you have a vertical stretch, if you're stretching something vertically, it actually becomes more narrow. Okay, and then the number 7, let's say I have f of x equals 1/4. Oh my god, this dog. Come on, Lexi, stop it. If this number is less than 1 but bigger than 0, it needs to be a positive number. So if this number is less than 1 but bigger than 0, we have a vertical compression. Okay, now if we're compressing something vertically, we're actually making it more wider. Okay, now I'm gonna list the function and we're gonna focus on all the transformations. So notice the blue section, these are numbers inside of the parentheses, they represent horizontal shift, basically either left or right, okay? Opposite to what your intuition says. If you're shifting something to the right, that means you need to have a negative inside of the parentheses. If you're shifting something to the left, that means you need to have positive inside of the parentheses. The red section is vertical shift, so up or down. If you see plus, you follow your intuition, go up. If you see minus, you follow your intuition, you go down. Minus in front of everything, it's just doing reflect across the x-axis, okay? It flips the function upside down. Now the numbers, whether it's number greater than 1, it's giving you a vertical stretch, okay? The function becomes more narrow. Or if the number is less than 1 but greater than 0, you have a vertical compression, which makes your function wider. Okay, let's say we have a function f of x equals negative 3/4 x plus 15 squared plus 4. Now, let's focus on whatever we're seeing, okay, and we're going to go from left to right. So if I see a negative, well, if I see a negative, I automatically should recognize a reflection across the x-axis. So I have reflect across x-axis. Lexi! I can't. This dog. My God. Okay, next we have 3/4. Well, 3/4 is in front of the parentheses, in front of x squared. But 3/4 is less than 1, right? It's, it's like 0.75. So it's a vertical compression. Vertical compression. Okay. Next, I have 15 inside of the parentheses. Inside of the parentheses, I have the blue section. It's a horizontal shift. If I see positive number, I will actually have a shift to the left. So shift left 15 units. Okay, and at the very end, I have positive 4. Now, this positive 4 would be represented by 4, the red section. It's a vertical shift, so either up or down, and you follow your intuition. So you have positive 4, we go up 4 units.